Hey, what's up everybody? We are back again, and today we got a little bit of a situation going on between two of the most prominent members of the SoundCloud scene, which of course if you're watching this video, you already know who they are. We have Ski Mask the Slump God, former best friend to XXXTentacion, and very talented rapper in his own right. Now if you didn't know this, at one point Ski Mask was actually my favorite rapper of all time until he took that very long break. Although recently it does seem like he's been making a bit of a comeback with the release of his sophomore album 11th Dimension, which definitely wasn't my favorite album by him by any means, but it's at least good to see that he's back to making music, back to touring, and working with different people. It felt like for years and years and years, Ski Mask was nothing but a tribute act to XXXTentacion and Juice WRLD, but with the release of this latest album, it really feels like he's finding his personality again, and I'm really hoping he's going to continue to drop music consistently for the following years. However, it does seem like there might be some troubles going on with him and his touring DJ Scheme. Now, if you're not aware of him, he basically got his start in the music industry by being best friends with Wi-Fi's Funeral, and eventually this connection to Wi-Fi would lead him to moving in with XXXTentacion and Ski Mask the Slump God back in like 2015, although unfortunately him and Wi-Fi's friendship would eventually fall apart and they're not on good terms nowadays. I'm not entirely sure what went down between the two of them. You would have thought that at the time DJ Scheme would have tweeted something about it, because I mean, as you're going to find out later in this video, the guy really likes to tweet about everything. But in terms of the Wi-Fi situation, there doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of information about it online, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Me and him was always having problems with each other. Just a lot of miscommunication on both ends. Me and him are like very fucking prideful people. So we'll argue and we'll think from what aspect and be so like narrow-minded and be like, oh well, I deserve an apology before he deserves an apology type shit. You know, just petty shit. It wasn't like it was something so big that like me and him couldn't sit down on the phone with each other and like talk about it. But it is what it is. And you know, at the end of the day, I used to sleep in cars with that nigga. So brothers go through shit. And that's literally all it is. Other than that, there is no bad blood towards him at all. I saw him at Rolling Loud. Hugged each other. It was cool, you know?
Because if you knew these two back in the day, you would have thought that Wi-Fi would have had an extremely successful career and DJ Scheme probably would have faded away, but it's the exact opposite. And how did Scheme do that? Well, basically he became the touring DJ for XXXTentacion on the Revenge Tour, even though X ended up yelling at him at one of the shows, and apparently that still haunts him to this very day.
Nigga, listen, the fucking hook goes, I won't cause some steady, I won't cause some steady,
Now supposedly it actually wasn't DJ Scheme who got yelled at there, it was actually the venue DJ, but either way, Scheme has never really stopped talking about that event, and it definitely seems like he has a bit of mixed emotions about it. But I mean, honestly, it doesn't really mean anything. He got mad at him once, they were still friends, and then eventually, unfortunately, X would pass away. After X passed away, he continued to work with Ski Mask the Slump God, eventually getting connected to Juice WRLD as well and becoming friends with him, and then unfortunately, as you already know, Juice WRLD would also pass away, leading him to once again become Ski Mask's full-time DJ, as well as doing a bunch of interviews after X and Juice passed away, talking about their legacy, stories that he had with them, and basically becoming a fan favorite through that. DJ Scheme basically became like a tankhead character, somebody who was always there to defend the legacy of both of his fallen friends. And a lot of fans really appreciated that, although eventually it would become a little bit much. As of course, at first everybody was really grieving the loss of these two artists. I mean, people are going to grieve them forever. They definitely made a big impact on the music scene and people are never going to forget their legacies, but Scheme basically has not stopped talking about them non-stop for the last couple years, which has definitely created a group of people who don't like him very much, as well as him being very outspoken on a lot of different topics. But either way, in 2020 he was able to have enough connections and know enough rappers to put together an album album called Family, which he didn't really do any production on. It was more of a DJ Khaled type thing where he brought everybody together to create this album. It had basically all the big time rappers from back in the day, Little Mosey, Snot, Phoenix Flexing, Silicami. Although Juice WRLD was notably absent from the initial release, even though he was included on the cover art, only being added once they made a deluxe version with the track Buck 50, which you would think would make the fans happy, right? But apparently a lot of people took issue with the fact that the deluxe version of the album only included one new song, and it happened to be the Juice WRLD one, with a lot of people saying that Scheme was trying to use his fallen friend for profit, which I don't really believe. It probably was a label thing. He probably initially wanted that track to be on the album, but wasn't able to clear it in time for the initial release, so he made a deluxe and put it back on the way the album was supposed to be in the first place. But no matter what his intention was, it definitely seems like he's been rubbing people the wrong way recently, and that whole family that he's talking about on the album seems to be breaking down, because recently he's been taking shots at Ski Mask Slump God. So it starts off on Twitter when DJ Scheme says, "People are so shameless and will blame everybody but themselves for their own mistakes. You know how long I've held my tongue for? Don't ever bring up my name around Ski Mask Slump God ever again." Now right off the bat, that's a very crazy thing to say, considering Ski Mask Slump God really helped to make a lot of his career, and it seems like the two of them have been best friends for a long time at this point, so for him to go on Twitter and immediately start flaming him definitely seems a little bit out of pocket. Not to mention the two of them are actually on tour right now in Australia, although I think the tour might have recently ended, but either way they definitely could have talked about this in person and not brought it to the internet. Scheme continues on by saying, "I refuse to watch someone that I love destroy themselves. That's the last thing I'm gonna say," and then Ski Mask responds to that with a peace emoji. Ski Mask then retweets him saying, "Going on social media like a girl about homeboy beef, you hilarious. Cloud up, misses." And I definitely agree with Ski Mask here. I feel like Scheme should have taken a couple days to calm down and relax before he immediately tweeted something out about the situation, because after all, we don't really know what it's about as fans. It might be over drugs, it might be over money, it could be over women, but we don't know. And for somebody who's supposed to be your best friend, you're kind of making him look like a piece of shit to people online, which is definitely not a cool move. But I'm not really surprised when it comes to DJ Scheme, because after all, the guy basically is always tweeting about something. Every other day you see him tweeting out about Juice WRLD or Benny Blanco or somebody related to internet money. In fact, I have a bunch of those tweets and I actually want to read them out all here to show you how much DJ Scheme really likes to go back and forth on Twitter. But before I get into that, as I was recording this video, a little bit more came out with the two going back and forth on Twitter, so DJ Scheme ends up saying, "Tell the truth then, bro," and then Ski Mask responds by saying, "You literally doing this shit for clout. You do the same shit I do. Literally, we came off 3 tours back to back, 6 months. Stop talking about me online for clout, deadass M-word." Now if you read between the lines here a little bit, you can definitely tell that the two of them are talking about drugs, because if you didn't know, Ski Mask actually has a bit of a heart condition that he recently had to have surgery for, and I'm assuming any form of drug use would only exacerbate that situation, so DJ Scheme is probably worried about him. He's probably tried to get him off drugs before, but at the same time, from what Ski Mask is saying, apparently Scheme also does drugs. But if you're really trying to help your homeboy out, you don't go on Twitter and try to flame him, because that's not going to make him want to get off of drugs anymore. You should talk to him privately, and if nothing's getting to him, then maybe silently cut ties and then work with him again once he gets clean. But even weirder than that, a day after all those tweets came out, DJ Scheme actually ended up posting up a picture with Ski Mask the Slump God, Kid Leroy, and of course himself, so it seems like the guys maybe are back on good terms. But then if you look in the comments, everybody's like, "What the hell is going on?" And Scheme responds by saying this was taken a couple days ago. So basically he's posting up pictures from tour, he's posting up a picture of him and Kid Leroy, but him and Ski Mask are still not on good terms, which is really just a fucking weird move. I mean, I understand that you want to post up a picture with Kid Leroy and you, but if you're not fucking with Ski Mask, why are you posting up with him? Maybe cut him out of the picture. I'm not really sure, because that might cause more problems. I really just feel like the whole situation never should have been taken to the internet, but when it comes to DJ Scheme, there's really not a whole lot you can do. The guy definitely spends way too much time on Twitter, and it's probably not the best for his mental health. And I'm going to show you a couple examples of that right here, starting off with him beefing with Andrew Tate of all people. It all started off when Andrew Tate ended up tweeting out, "Imagine being a fan of Juice WRLD, fucking mindless." And then of course Scheme ends up responding to him by saying, "Number 1, you're a fucking loser. Number 2, every content creator passed you around like a little whore. Now you're washed up and nobody gives a fuck about you. And for the final, literally you're a human trafficker." Now surprisingly, a lot of people said it was a big win for him to come at Andrew Tate like this, but to me, I really feel like he shouldn't have responded to it at all. I mean, it's definitely disrespectful for Andrew Tate to be shitting on Juice WRLD after he passed away, but after all, it's fucking Andrew Tate. What do you really expect? The guy will basically do anything for attention, and he's not wrong about him being washed up and falling off recently, so he's trying to do anything he can to keep himself relevant, and by you responding to him, you're only giving him more attention. Because for people like Andrew Tate, Jake Paul, and 6ix9ine, they basically thrive off of people calling them out and talking shit about them. As long as their name's being spoken about in any capacity online, saying it's a good thing for him. The only way for people like this to ever fade away is if everybody stops talking about them all together, but because DJ Scheme ended up responding to Tate, it basically became a whole story, and Juice WRLD's name was only tied to Andrew Tate more, so he probably should have ignored it, but either way, I can see how some people thought this was a win. We also have a situation between him and Snot where DJ Scheme ends up tweeting out, "I worked on a project with an artist who I thought was close with me, just to never get any credit for anything after writing lyrics, producing, and paying for studio time, lesson learned." So at first he's showing a little bit of restraint, he's definitely sneak dissing somebody, but we don't really know who the artist is, but before too long he ends up calling them out by name by saying, "Funny enough, the artist who I work with, well, his name is Snot. He took it upon himself to post the original post and say womp womp on his Finsta. So here you go, kiddo. Give me my money, you owe me, or you'll be hearing from my lawyers. You're the only person I know that faked a car accident to cancel a tour." And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, DJ Scheme is definitely out for blood in that tweet, and I kinda fuck with the energy. I mean, if Snot really did rip him off and then had the audacity to post on his Insta womp womp, then I see why Scheme is so pissed off. I mean, as much as I don't agree with taking interpersonal beef to the internet and keeping it behind the scenes, if the label's really not willing to pay you for your work, at a certain point you have no choice but to speak out against it. After that, somebody ends up responding, "This is crazy, but happy you spoke out about it." He responds to that by saying, "I had to. I've been chasing my money / credit down for a year now. I have paperwork and everything from every single session. It's such an absolute joke. His team's been telling me the label will pay you, and then after that they changed it to he's going to pay you personally. It's a joke." And he actually got Snot to respond by saying, "I'm gonna get Scheme paid, y'all boys. It's been slow for months because I thought it'd be some label shit to handle, but I'm not in good standings with my label anymore. I've been dropping music independently, but I'm still under contract. Shit's been really busy with trying to get out of that shit." He goes on to say it was an ego thing that got in the way. It could have been handled on the phone. For the car crash that actually happened, and I feel 100% right now, I had a friend with me that night and she was a part of the accident. It was a dramatic thing for her that night. I just hope everybody is respectful about that shit. I have a video, but I don't really want to post it because I moved on from that. So it seems like the car crash did really happen. I mean, I don't know if DJ Scheme has any proof that it didn't, but maybe he went a little bit too far there. Although I do have to say that it is nice to see Snot make a genuine apology, be very transparent with his fans, and actually pay back DJ Scheme. It was really good of him to do that and not blame a million different people and still not give him the money back. It definitely could have been damage control, but I do feel like Snot is being genuine here because most artists, after they scam somebody, basically try to throw everybody else under the bus to save themselves, but he was able to admit that he had wrongdoing in the situation. So yeah, we got good guy Snot and a W for DJ Scheme, although the next couple tweets that he put out are a little bit more disrespectful in my opinion, because these both have to do with Juice WRLD. In fact, there's actually 3 situations I can talk about when it comes to Juice WRLD. The first one I can't really find the tweet for, but it had to do with Juice WRLD's ex-girlfriend Blackfire, or Starfire I think she goes by, and Scheme getting into a bit of a back and forth. Scheme basically called her out for trying to take a picture of Juice WRLD's dead corpse at the funeral. I'm not sure if that actually happened or not, but she ended up retaliating by basically saying that he was a clout hopper, going from Wi-Fi to Ski Mask to X to Juice WRLD and then back to Ski again. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, she might not be wrong, but either way, I feel like the two of them shouldn't have been talking about the funeral online. It's a very intimate moment for the family, and I'm sure they don't appreciate them talking about it so openly for the whole internet to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of hurt feelings when it comes to somebody passing away so young, with so many people pointing fingers in different directions, but I feel like everybody should try to get along for at least one day when the actual funeral's going on. Pay respects to your fallen friend. If somebody actually is trying to film the corpse, then kick them out and don't say anything else about it. Don't take it to the internet. I feel like it's a little bit too much, and you really shouldn't do that when it comes to paying respects to your fallen friend. But that's really only the beginning, because it seems like Scheme also wasn't a big fan of the recent posthumous release from Juice WRLD, The Party Never Ends. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this album was so hyped up over the course of so many years that there's no way that everybody was gonna be satisfied with it. This is an album that he was apparently working on when he was still alive, where the other 2 posthumous albums were something that were put together by the label, so this really felt like the final body of work that Juice WRLD really had his full hands on, and not just a random compilation project like the other ones. And on top of that, fans had to wait 5 long years for it to finally release, and when it finally did come out, a lot of people didn't like the cover art, calling it ugly and saying that it looked like an acid trip version of Graduation, which is perfectly fair. I mean, everybody deserves to have their own opinion on the album, but I do feel like it's a little bit disrespectful that DJ Scheme ended up tweeting out, "Benny was not the man for the job, sorry." He then goes on to say, "How the hell you help put the album together and don't post it once? I don't care, Benny shouldn't have touched it, all love for Bibby and the team, always, regardless." And once again, man, I feel like that could have been a phone call. I'm not sure if he's really close to Benny or not, but either way, going online and talking shit about another producer on the work that he did on your dead friend's album definitely feels like it's a little bit out of pocket. Like, have your opinion on the album, don't get me wrong, and if you feel like like Benny is being disrespectful by not posting it on his own page, then you can definitely hit him up and tell him to do so. But once again, I feel like you don't need to post every single thought that goes through your mind on Twitter. It just seems like Scheme burns a lot of bridges for absolutely no reason. Like, it's to no benefit to you to tweet about stuff like this. You're not making any money off of Twitter. It's not really helping your career in any way. And I know you want Juice WRLD's legacy to be respected to the utmost degree, but calling him out like that is only causing more controversy. But either way, all of that leads up to our final controversy related to Juice, with DJ Scheme actually going back and forth with Internet Money. So it all starts off when DJ Scheme ended up posting up a picture with Ski Mask the Slump God, Cole Bennett, and everybody else saying family. Somebody responds saying Nick and DT made Juice and they not there. He said they didn't make shit but beats, watch your mouth. Internet Money CEO Taz Taylor ends up responding to Scheme by saying nobody care about you, bro. How many cartoon artists you got on hire? We get it, Scheme. You a side character all along. And then Scheme responds to that by saying, and you the annoying kid who finessed every artist / producer you signed. Nobody likes you because you're shady and an asshole. They continue on with Taz Taylor saying, the truth is, how are you going to tell somebody what they do? Nick still pays for Juice's SoundCloud right now. If he had a problem, could have DM one of us personally. Didn't have to do this publicly. Nick's not the type of person. He responds to that by saying, you can't talk to me, little boy. I've been heard you sneak diss about me from your own people. Don't ever see me in person because it's up and I'm really like that. He goes on to say, can't nobody in Internet Money beat my ass, so I don't give a fuck, which I mean, I'm not sure if that's true, but Taz Taylor definitely can't beat your ass. I mean, the dude is pretty overweight, not gonna lie. Hey, everybody chill in the comments. I'm allowed to call people fat. People call me fat every day. You gotta deal with it. We're fat united, alright? I love you, Taz. Not really, but you know what? Fat boys together. He goes on to say, ain't nobody make my dog who he was. If you think you dig, you're fucking delusional, and I'm confused as to why anyone thinks that. Nick Mirror then responds to that by saying, watch your mouth, bucko, which is honestly the funniest response I could have thought of. Watch your mouth, buckaroo. Keep it silent, buckaroo. Like, come on, man. Taz Taylor then also responds to his recent tweet saying, we beating your ass every day on the charts, kid, where it really matters. Taz then also responds to the other tweet by saying, do you think I care what people think of me? We in two different businesses. I'm in the music business. You're in the best friend business. I'm sure you're scouting people to friend next, which is honestly a crazy diss when it comes to DJ Scheme, and low-key not wrong. He then ends off the back and forth by saying Scheme cashed his whole album royalties and bought an aux cord, which I'm not really sure what he's trying to say, but either way, the two of them ended their beef off there. Okay, so there's a lot to say here. First of all, Taz Taylor is a pretty sketchy guy. He definitely has screwed over quite a few people, but at the same time, he has put on a lot of your favorite acts, Little Mosey, Little Tekka, Ian Dior, Poor Stacy. He works very closely with 10K projects, and for a long time, they're basically finding artists and blowing them up. And I'm sorry to say, guys, but they definitely did discover Juice WRLD and put him in a better position. They produced both All Girls Are the Same and Lucid Dreams, as well as getting him connected to people like Lyrical Lemonade. Although, let's be honest, Juice WRLD was a pretty talented artist and probably would have found his way to success no matter what. It just so happened that he got connected to Internet Money before all of that. And that's why this whole back and forth is kind of stupid, because both things can be true at once. I mean, nobody really gave Juice WRLD his talent, but somebody did help to put him on, and I don't see why that's a bad thing. I'm pretty sure if Juice was still alive now, he probably would have paid respects to Internet Money and everything they did for him. I can't see him as being so egotistical that he would say, nobody ever helped me in my life, I did it all on my own. And it kind of comes across here that DJ Scheme is trying to speak for Juice WRLD, which I feel like he shouldn't do. I mean, I know you're friends with the guy and you're trying to protect him, but you should never try to really speak for him because he can't speak for himself anymore. But either way, it's all internet beef, so it doesn't really matter, besides the fact that DJ Scheme says that if he sees Taz Taylor or anybody from Internet Money out in public, he's going to try to beat them up, which is honestly kind of pathetic. I really do get tired of the whole, oh, I can beat your ass in a fight. I mean, that's interesting. That's honestly probably true. You probably could beat my ass in a fight. You could probably beat a lot of people's ass in a fight, but it doesn't mean that you're right in that situation. To me, if you're going to resort to violence, it shows a mental weakness where you're not really able to back up anything you have to say. You can't really debate with people on an intellectual level, and the only thing you can say is, hey man, I'm going to beat your ass. I can beat you up, which doesn't prove anything. I mean, think about it. When Tokyo's Revenge got called out for the shit that he did, do you think if he had went out and tried to beat up all of his critics and actually beat them in a fight, that would have disproven anything that he did? No, all that would have proven is that he's kind of immature and that he wants to fight people. I don't know, that's just my opinion on it though. I know a lot of people say, hey, if you're going to talk shit online, you should be able to back it up in person, but unless the person is trying to challenge you to a fight in the first place, I don't think it ever needs to result to violence. And it definitely doesn't need to resort in 83 Hades trying to tickle my booty hole, that's for damn sure. But either way, that's basically all the tweet battles that DJ Scheme has gotten into in his life. No, I'm just kidding. There's definitely way more than that, but that's all I want to cover for right now. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think about DJ Scheme. Do you think he's justified to be constantly popping off on Twitter, or do you think he should keep it a little bit more behind the scenes? And if you know any more information about what might be going on between him and Ski Mask, make sure to let me know. I mean, after all, I don't know everything everything ever, and sometimes more information can add more to a story. And while you're down there, leave some knife emojis. Shout out to Knife Gang. Subscribe to the channel. We just passed 21K. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I truly do appreciate it, and I can't believe that we're growing so fast. So shout out to absolutely everybody who supports me. And I'm definitely very excited for 2025. Everything's going to level up. Everything's going to change. A lot of new stuff on the way. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.